Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Now, Percy Jackson may be one of the biggest missed opportunities and one of the worst film franchises to ever be adapted from a young adult novel. I mean, it seemed like it had all the criteria to be a big success. The director of the first two Harry Potters was going to helm it. It had big young stars who actually were talented and actually pretty decently cast in the major roles. And then we got this.
I'm the lightning thief.
In my opinion, one of the biggest disappointments for fans of the books and a collective meh from casual moviegoers. And if that wasn't enough, it was followed up with a last-ditch effort of a sequel. It just goes to show you that throwing talent at a movie won't make your project work. Now, since I've started recasting on this channel, people have been begging for me to take on Percy Jackson. And it may be the first property that I've ever tackled that doesn't have some sort of beloved media. It's strictly the books. It's the fan of those books that have been waiting for something and feel like it's deserving to see something. Of course, Disney Plus has announced a live-action TV show, which everyone seems to be super interested in. Now, I took this very seriously, and I actually cast every single major role with an actor who was 15 to 16. But after reflecting on those castings, it's an extremely big change, not only in looks, but also in demeanor of a character. Also, if I were to cast older, it robs fans of being able to grow up with these characters, much like we did with Harry Potter. So alas, I redid my casting and went for more accurate to the books and more accurate to those original ages of the character. And if we are recasting for Disney Plus, they won't be filming right away anyways. So casting a 15-year-old may actually be 17 by the time of filming, and then we're right in the same ballpark that we were in the original film. So we're looking for actors who are roughly 12 to 13. But before we tackle the casting, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. Now, Squarespace helps you build a website. It's super easy with the help of templates and designs to get you started, but if you're looking to dive even deeper, it allows you to completely customize to help achieve that look or desire for your brand. Squarespace's designs actually automatically optimize for your mobile, tablet, or computer browsing, meaning your website is easy to navigate and looks great no matter the device the person is using. I've been using it to create a website of my own, and I've been diving into getting a domain, which is super simple, has no hidden costs or price changes. So head over to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/BrianSeeker to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. As for the Percy Jackson casting, today we are going to be tackling the main three characters of the series and slowly go through the rest of the characters. So today we're casting Percy, Grover, and Annabeth. So let's recast Percy Jackson in the Olympians. Now, before we get started, I know they should be unknown actors, so I tried to lean into actors that have never really appeared in giant projects before, so we could really attach their faces to these characters. So first off, we have the titular character himself, Percy Jackson. Now, I actually liked Logan Lerman in the role, even though he was 17 at the time. Now, Percy Jackson in the series needs to be a character who is more reserved, but also brave, and not willing to back down. I also think it's important that he's not that outgoing, kind of sticks to himself, and either than being attached to Grover, he's a little bit of a loner. But the biggest thing with Percy is his moral compass, and him really standing up for anyone. He's extremely brave, even though sometimes he might have a short fuse, but he also has that good sense of humor. Now, with casting an actor this young, it's important we see touches of these characteristics before they blossom throughout the series. Although Logan Lerman looked enough like the character, people seem to forget that Percy is actually supposed to have darker skin and more of a Mediterranean look to him. I ended up going with a very unknown actor who has appeared in only a few projects, Madison Rojas. He first got his start at a very young age in Jane the Virgin, who at age 8 still can hold his own.
I'd like to thank my parents, of course, for instilling in me the desire to give back.
I actually tracked down a couple short films he's in, like Fishhead, where he plays an outcast with a good heart. Madison actually just turned 12 days ago, and he has the look and the feeling that I feel like Percy needs. I can also see him aging well into this character. Slap some green contacts on him, and it's just Percy. Here he is at a screen test, which just kind of seems like he's talking to Gabe.
Hello, Vic.
How's the book?
Excuse me?
The book? You like it?
Sure. It's enjoyable.
Enjoyable! He said enjoyable.
Enjoyable isn't even that complicated a word.
Who are you trying to impress, Walter?
Nobody really. I just enjoy.
Enjoyable! Oh my god, Vic is hilarious.
So Madison Rojas as Percy Jackson. Next up we have Grover, Percy's best friend, and really his main pillar of support. This might be controversial, but I actually like how the film adaptation changed Grover's ethnicity. I mean, it leans well into that Rastafarian hat, even though he didn't wear it in the movies, but for some reason, even when rereading the books, I saw Grover as darker skinned. Although I like the look of Grover, and generally him in the movies, what they did with this character just wasn't right. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Brandon T. Jackson in the role, but this isn't Grover.
Ooh, the daughters of Aphrodite. Okay, all right, guys, you guys got a lot of catching up to do. Their mother's the goddess of love, so you know where that leads. Hey, baby!
Grover is not a ladies' man. Grover gets afraid easily. And even though he stands up for his friends, he's nervous. And he starts off the series considering himself a failure. He shouldn't be a confident person who's sure of himself. I think Grover should still have that upbeat nature, but that dorkiness, almost like that little brother who won't shut up. Grover should be scrawny, and you can tell he could be an easy target for bullies. Kinda like that weird kid that gets picked on but you love. Now Grover is actually much older than Annabeth or Percy, but still has an appearance of a 13-year-old. That's why I decided on Isaiah Russell Bailey. He is best known for his work in the sitcom Family Reunion, where he shows off his lighthearted nature and shows he can be the comic relief at times.
I'm all over her secret account.
Oh. That's just her fake secret account, so you don't find out about her real secret account.
Ooh, look at your sister.
I blame the parents.
He also appeared in We Can Be Heroes, where he plays Rewind.
He's right. Our parents are always having huge brawls in the middle of the most populated city.
He has that tall, scrawny build, and just enough weirdness that you can buy into him being picked on.
Wrath of Khan? You're mixing up Star Trek and Star Wars. You're gonna be single forever.
He actually has a background in parkour and gymnastics, which would help sell that goat-like nature that Grover has, jumping around and fighting in scenes. He is 13, which is slightly older than Percy, which I like, and I can see him working well as the best friend's sidekick. So Isaiah Russell Bailey as Grover Underwood. Lastly, we have Annabeth. Now, Annabeth in the books is clever, smart, and a badass. She needs to start off as cold to Percy and unsure of him before she ultimately sees their connection. Now, this, in my opinion, is extremely difficult for a 12-year-old to pull off, and I'm sure that's why they went a little bit older with the rest of the cast, and especially Annabeth. Now, I don't mind Alexandra Daddario in the role, but I think she's just missing something that Annabeth needs. I can't put my finger on it, but she's not quite right. But with a 12-year-old taking on this role, it's difficult. I want someone who feels like they're really young, but sure of themselves, can perform under pressure, and knows their way around a knife. She needs to look like a leader within Camp Half-Blood, even though she's not older than anyone, but because she's been there for so long. Like I said, this is a difficult ask of a 12-year-old, but I believe Olivia Lynn Lind fits all of these requirements. She's been acting for a very long time, even though she's 13, but she shows the requirements for this character in Daybreak, where she's a little bit more on edge, but you can see Annabeth shining through.
Look, I'm sorry I was such a shit.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. But we have no idea what's going on here. We don't know why the adults turned into ghoulies or why kids didn't. But those are just kids out there. The only way we're gonna find answers and survive is if we stay together.
Just like Grover, I think she acts a little bit more mature for her age, which is great for Annabeth, since she's so seasoned in Camp Half-Blood. I think she could do that hard exterior with that kindness peeking through, and slowly that wall being torn down.
I had tutors in moral relativism and molecular chemistry. My mom had high expectations for me.
My mom made me scrape her bunions.
At least you got to be with her. The conclusion to my experiment was painfully clear. My mom would rather be in a nuclear submarine at the bottom of the ocean than spend another minute with me.
She's exactly what I'm looking for the character. So Olivia Aylan Lind as Annabeth Chase. So there's my trio for Percy Jackson. We're gonna get to the big three Olympians next, and then make our way through all the demigods, everyone in Camp Half-Blood. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes, and let me know which characters you definitely want included. Let me know in the comments below your choices for these roles. I always love seeing yours as well. But as always, thank you for watching, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.